Yo, what's up, everybody? Keith from Almost in Full Color, and I am not in a meeting currently, but I got one in about 15 minutes, so we're gonna try to wrap this up real nice. Like, all right, games be telling you I don't be in meetings. I'm in meetings. I'm in so many meetings, a lot of meetings. All right, the biggest of meetings. But that's enough about that. This is about Black Myth Wukong on the PS5. I want to stress that we're doing this on console because a lot of people were allowed to review the game, but they had to do it on PC. Now, currently, I could tell you it's probably better to play this on PC if you have that option available to you. The PS5 version is not horrible, but there are some issues that occur with the PS5 version or any console version that don't probably exist on PC, which is why people are saying, hey, you should probably play this on PC currently, all right? But we'll get into that later. Let's just jump right into it. Visuals. The game looks great. It's what you expect of a AAA title. Tencent is behind this game, so we knew money was behind it. And it looks really, really dope. This game is based off the Sun Wukong folklore, the Chinese folklore that's steeped in just cultural appreciation. So they really had to knock this out the park. And I do feel like you are immersed in a land that's mystical and unique and just has so many different caves and crevices and secrets to find. And I think they did an excellent job, not only just with the environment and Wukong himself, but the other factions that exist in the game all look very unique and have different things going on with their designs. There are things down to just the minor details, the Buddhas, the ornate Chinese dragons, and just everything that if you're into that type of thing, I'm really into that type of thing. So like just seeing a lot of that, it was ornate, it was beautiful, it was very, very detailed. I really enjoyed just everything. I would have loved to, walk up on one of those like gold tiger statues and just see it in person. It would have been an absolutely treat for me. But to see it in game like this is like, wow. And the kind of scale, because Wukong is, like our size, I guess. but ultimately, like, to see this stuff to scale, it's like, wow, like this is absolutely insane. So I think they did a really great job with everything surrounding Wukong and everything down to the minor details and what you would expect out of a team that has, the amount of resources that Tencent has to offer right now. So kudos to them. Great job visually. In the sound department, the sound is dope. The battle game music is dope. When you hit chapter 2, my man's is gonna come out and play you in, and it's absolutely a banger that he plays you in with. I was so hyped. It was kind of unexpected too. So absolute banger he plays you in with. The sound department is top notch. They really do a great job at having music that keeps you like in the battle pocket. I feel like a lot of that music is in the battle pocket. They do have some that's kind of on the more chill side. So, you're in a chill area, and they do a really good job with music to relate what type of area that you're in. So I really loved what they did with that. One thing I will say about the sound department, when I first started with the English language on, I was very, very bothered because I was realizing that the natural language is Chinese. So that's what this game, when you see the lip movement, it's Chinese. The English language seems to take a second to catch up to what the sentiment is. So when you see the character's facial expression, the English language sometimes takes a second to either get to that or it already passed that facial expression that's being made. It was just driving me up the wall, that lag that was occurring. So I just was like, all right, let me just change this to Chinese. And from then on, no problems here. Chinese voice actors did an amazing job. I kind of feel like that's the way it should be played, but English voice actors did not do a bad job at all. They did a good job. So if you just want to play it on English, just know you'll probably see some differences with that lip movement here and there. I don't know how it is in the later chapters. I just know in the first two, I had to change it after that point. I was pretty much done. So now moving on to the gameplay, the big part of this game and where a lot of these issues lie. All right, let's just talk about some of the issues before we really get into it. So this game does have 3 modes. You got quality, you got balance, and you have performance. We've seen this in many other games. Quality jumps you at 4K 30 frames. Balance puts you somewhere in between 4K and 1080. I think it targets 40 frames. And then you have performance, which charges you at 60 frames, 1080. So I absolutely think that after messing around with all these modes, the 4K 30 FPS, it just feels jarring. I don't know. I think I may be at a point where I played too many games at 60, and now it just feels a little jarring at times to go down to that 30. Balance, it feels in the same boat. and I don't feel like you get that much of a better performance value, and I feel like you don't get that much of a quality value. Like, you're pretty much gonna be stuck, in my opinion, between quality and performance. So if you like that 4K 30 FPS, if that's your jam, I would definitely tell you to go with that. A lot of the backgrounds are ornate and they definitely look way more detailed in that 4K 30 FPS setting, but I chose to go performance. This is an action oriented game, so I want to, kind of see everything in its most fluid of motions, or as most fluid of motions that we can capture currently on console. So I went with that. And you're gonna notice some stuttering. You're gonna notice some hiccups. You're gonna notice some screen tearing. You're gonna notice a few things that happen. They don't happen like every 5 seconds. No, the screen tearing thing, I think I only saw about like 2 or 3 bosses that when I was walking to them, the screen started to tear, but when I actually made it to them, it stopped. So it lasted all of like 4 seconds. The stutter frames, I mean, they'll happen, I don't know, maybe like 2 times within a 30-minute, play segment. So, where you just kind of get that, like, it looks like he's supposed to step, but he doesn't. And also another thing that I'm not sure if it is related to those stutter frames. Sometimes I would do the input, which is tap L1 to drink a potion, and he wouldn't do it. It was odd. But then, sometimes, I tap and he'll do it off the one. So I don't know if it's an animation thing. In certain animations, he won't drink the potion, like if you're in this animation, so you need to hit L1 a second time. I don't know what happened, but I feel like a lot of times I was doing the proper input for many things and it would not register. I'm quite positive this is not a user error, as they were very simple inputs, but all in all, sometimes inputs like just seem to not take as fluidly as you want them. And not that this review is about that, but coming off of playing Stellar Blade, where everything was so poppy, everything was so fast, everything was just so instant and quick, when I came to this, it was much different. It's a slowed down pace, but also some of the inputs just aren't as snappy as one would have hoped. So now that we got all the bad out the way, though, this game is an amazing game. Like I said, it is a little bit slower than Stellar Blade, so it's a bit slower and it's a bit more, I would say, methodical. You do need to approach certain battles with a strategy. And to tag along with that strategy, Wukong has so many different skills that are available throughout various skill trees. It's expansive, and this really allows you to kind of custom tailor what you want to play into and how you want to play. So you do have to kind of get some of these skills, but once you get them, it's like, okay, cool. Do I want to go counter dodge heavy? Do I want to go immobilize heavy? Do I want, to bring out shadow clones? Like, what do I really want to play into? What do I want my strengths to be? There are different stances, and now I can tell you, I just stayed in Smash stance pretty much the entire time. I feel like that was kind of the best stance that could deal with everything. The other stances do seem really good. I just haven't really gotten into them. So maybe on my next playthrough, I'll go through and really test out those other stances. But Smash is pretty much where I stayed at the entire time. But all in all, the game absolutely plays phenomenally. Definitely the bosses are hard. You got so many bosses, mini bosses, many bosses. So many. You have really strong enemies that just pop out of nowhere. And so supposedly the game is kind of like supposed to scale to your skill level. I guess that might be true. I don't know. But if not, some of these enemies are hyper aggressive. Some of them like play back only just a little bit. I think most enemies are super aggressive just naturally, which was a nice touch. I felt like you don't get to pick a difficulty level, but these enemies are no slouches and they will come to run up on you. They are trying to take you out immediately. So it felt very nice to feel like, okay, like they're actually trying to fight me and they're actually trying to jump me. Like in many games I played where you get surrounded by enemies kind of only one attacks at a time. So it's like, all right, once I take you out, I can move on to the next. But no, this, like, if they are on the field, you need to watch out because they are coming for you. It is no, I'm going to wait for my teammate to try to hit you first. No, we're all trying to strike. So kudos to them on their just enemies. However, I will say the camera can be a little jarring at times, trying to get that camera to like snap the way that you want in battle, and then you have people swinging at you. It can be a little rough. And especially with those bigger characters, they're like the bigger guys and you're just trying to like see where you're even at because you're kind of a dwarf size comparatively. I wish they would have allowed you to change the field of view so you can kind of zoom out some so you can see yourself and also see like the scale of this thing that you're fighting, right? to get that full effect of like, wow, I'm taking on this giant right now and I'm not doing half bad. So I really wish that they did that. That would have been a great setting to have within the game. But as far as combat goes, this game absolutely did a stellar job with their combat. They probably do just need to do a couple of patches just to tweak that response time to Wukong, like, you know, you popping a potion or you know, trying to activate a skill in the skill wheel. So definitely hope that they do that. And for those who are trying to use certain skills and whatnot, they can be interrupted, which is also great. You do feel like I don't get to just do whatever I want. Like, I do need to actually try to strategize when I'm going to use this and when it's safe to do that. Otherwise, they will break my skill. It's going to go on cooldown and I'm just going to be very sad that I've messed up using my skill. Now, on the way of traversal also feels really good. You know, you sprint around everywhere. I wish you were a tad bit faster. I like wish this in every game, that you're just a tad bit faster. Now, there are many different little shrines that you can go to, and you can use those shrines to fast travel between one another. Fast travel in this game is actually a little bit slower than I expected. It's about 15 seconds for anywhere within the area that you're currently exploring, and about 35 seconds if you go out of the area to an area that you had been to, like a completely different one. One good thing is that even if you kind of forgot where you were, some things you will forget, like which shrine was where. So you probably will have to hop around to figure out like, oh, okay, I got this item and I need to use it here. I forgot the name of that shrine. So you will probably have to hop around, but some of the shrines that have vendors and things like that added, you'll actually see an icon there with their face on it. So you'll see the vendor, and if that's the vendor that you need to get to go get an item from them because you want to trade an item, then you can totally do that super duper easy. That was a great touch. One touch I really also wish was added. I think I understand why it was not there, but I really do wish that a map was available. Something for you to see. These areas are expansive. They're absolutely huge. And I think a map would have definitely showcased, one, how big these areas are, but also two, just like where secrets may lie and just really help. Now, while I do understand that, hey, they probably didn't incorporate the map because they want you to explore. They want you to try to look around and see what's available and to do all the exploration on your own and not just have something kind of just guiding you in that way. I think a map would have been nice just to showcase, okay, that. I think another thing that also would have been nice is maybe some showcasing that like this is the way to the main objective. So if I don't want to really push the main objective right now, I'm trying to explore still, I could follow that at another point. But right now, I do want to explore. There were a few times where I accidentally pushed the main objective and I really didn't want to at that point. I really want to go out and explore, get some items, you know, level my stuff up, get some crafting materials. But I end up pushing the main objective. So I think it really would be nice to have a map in some way to tell like which way is which. But by way of just exploring and finding cool stuff. And I did just touch on crafting. So there aren't really like many vendors or whatever. You got a few of them and they'll trade items with you for certain things, but also some of them will give you formulas that allow you to craft. So some of these items that you're finding, you can just make the potions on your own. So it makes that gathering and makes that going around looking for things more beneficial to you, just out of I can craft my own potions and I can kind of custom tailor my potion set to what I'm looking for in my combat style, because the potions all have some format effect that help you out in combat. So gameplay wise, super dope, great combat, great traversal, so many just hidden things to find all over the place. You have side quests from characters that they aren't typical, like you pick them up per se, like you do pick them up, you interact with the character, they ask you to go do something, you go do it, you come back to them. So it's like that, but there's no like real track or anything like that, not like most games. So it's kind of like, oh, hey, I need you to go to the east side and find this guy for me, and now you're stuck trying to find the east side with no map. So all in all though, great gameplay. I absolutely love it. Yes, this game does have some performance issues with the frame stuttering, with the screen tears, with the camera angles getting all weird, but you can definitely work with that. It's not game breaking. Once you kind of adapt to it, like I think you will end up having a great time with this game. And the last piece I wanted to touch on was the thing I have a love-hate relationship, and that's the story. I feel like the story could have been expounded upon so much, but this game took me about 38 hours to beat. And with that came, there was some stuff probably on the cutting floor, and maybe there was more story to this, but they just had to cut it out because they didn't want the game to be too long, which I understand. But at the same time, I do feel like some of the essence of the story of Wukong was lost. I think they got a lot of great points home. If you have not done any readings about anything Wukong related, I would highly encourage you to do so. There are a lot of parables. There are a lot of just stories that are very, very parallel to the human life. And I think there are stories and messages to take home from the stories of Wukong. But that's on you. If you don't read it, I don't think that you're like lost per se, but I think some things are lost upon you. If you have read the story of Wukong, I think you'll be fine. You'll kind of understand the points that they're trying to get to. When I look at a big picture, I do feel like some things were lost. Some things could have been expanded upon to like help newcomers like understand like what's going on. So I feel like maybe if they added about like a 30-minute segment at the beginning, because the beginning of the game, you see Wukong and then it transitions to present day where it's like, oh, hey, that's a story of like how Wukong rebelled, and oh, one of you may be the destined ones to find all 6 of his relics and like bring them back to life. But it's just a story, so you know, who knows. And then you set off on his journey. So I think something that just showcased like, why is your character so possessed to get all 6 relics? I think they could have done a little bit more at that beginning for the purpose of like, let me help you kind of understand something. But having this character in the dark the entire time, people talking to him like they know him because he looks like Wukong, and it just, I feel like they could have done more story wise. The love part is some of this storytelling is some of the most stylized stuff I've ever seen, and it's amazing. It go, you know, just the cutscenes look dope, and then you jump right into it, an anime cutscene. The cutscene looks dope, and then you know you jump into your claymation. The cutscene looks dope, and then you jump into an anime scene, but it looks very style. It looks very 90s. And it's so much just stylized work going on that I'm like, good God, this is so damn dope. It is the dopest, I think, just jumps that I've ever seen, that I've been like, I absolutely love this. I wish you did a little bit more with that story work, but good God, like this stylized stuff that you're doing with these mini stories, and it just, I loved it. I loved it very much. I can't lie. Again, I have a love-hate thing with this story. I don't know where I fall on the sword with that, but I definitely enjoyed it. Like, I definitely got joy out of the story. I'll put it to you like that. That's going to do it for this one, folks. I got to get back to a meeting. Black Myth Wukong on the PS5. It's not a broken game, but it's a game that definitely is going to need some patches to get to its full glory. If you have access to a good PC, I definitely will tell you to get it there, just to avoid some of those technical issues that the game does have on console currently. Make sure you hit that notification, that subscription button, because I will be out of a meeting in about, I don't know, 10 days, hopefully with the Visions of Mana video. And I hope you all will be back to check that one out and the other videos and podcasts that we'll be doing in the near future. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Peace, be easy, be blessed.